Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream, the first group live stream that we will have in 2024. Joined as usual by Pete, Farid, and Josh. Guys, great to have you on. The main topic is going to be looking at Cardano in 2024 and our expectations and thoughts, and maybe a few highlights from 23. But we can't ignore the big news that just came out probably an hour ago or less about Bitcoin ETFs. We finally have spot ETFs approved. We'll get into all of that in a few minutes. Guys, very welcome, and thanks for jumping on.
Happy New Year, boys.
Happy New Year. And hey, let me jump in here. And Paul, I don't know if I've said congratulations yet, but thanks for putting this thing together, even with the newborn at home. That's pretty awesome and a great start to the new year. So we appreciate that deeply.
Yeah, look, it's better to have people on the live stream in case I fall asleep here or I just completely pull a blank on what I'm trying to think about, because anyone who has had a newborn or has one knows that lack of sleep in them first few weeks is just, it takes a bit of getting used to. So you can forgive it if I do lose my train of thought in this one. But everyone jumping in, thanks for joining us. Let us know where people are joining in from. Give it a share out. The more, anyone who hasn't been on before, the guys' channels are all down below. If you want to keep up with Cardano content, I would say make sure you subscribe to all of the guys here. I'm sure most people coming in already are. But let us know where you're coming in from, questions, anything like that. We'll try and make it as interactive as possible. And Bitcoin ETFs, what's your thoughts? For me, the market, we kind of knew it was coming today. We had a bit of a false start yesterday. Anyone who didn't see it, who's seen the markets going absolutely crazy within a 5-minute spell. The SEC Twitter supposedly got hacked, and there was a message posted to say all Bitcoin ETFs are approved. Market shot up through 48,000 and all the way down to 44 something, I think, all within a few minutes. And there's different opinions on, was it a hack or did the intern pre-schedule the tweet 24 hours too early? Because when you look at the times, everyone was expecting in around the close of the market today. And that's when the tweet came out yesterday. But was it an intern? Was it a hack? What do you guys think?
I'll take a shot at this one real quick. It's interesting because the tweet came out yesterday after Gary had said some interesting things. And funny enough, we've got no tweet today. So I'm not sure if they're trying to send a message, but there hasn't actually been an official post on Twitter on the day that they actually have the ETFs approved. So it seems a little bit backwards to me. I was actually under the impression that yesterday's tweet was probably some sort of manipulation. I don't know what you guys think, but I find it interesting that on the day of when it's actually live, that there's no additional tweet to follow up after yesterday's big commotion.
If they did actually get hacked yesterday, they mightn't have access to the Twitter. I forgot to check if they posted anything today or not. I seen Gary posted a letter. I'll bring it up now in a minute. You can just taste the salt in the letter. It's about the approvals and how he really isn't happy about having to approve these things. Starts talking about the value that's in other ETPs and ETFs that have come out before. But Josh, Pete, what's your thoughts on it?
I don't know, man. It was a wild day yesterday. It was really funny to watch it all unfold. I'm inclined to think that it was a premature post that somebody did, and in an effort to hide their incompetence, they blamed it on them being hacked or something like that. It very well could have been a compromise, but like, why? I don't know. It's different. I don't think we'll ever actually know what actually happened. But it's just a very, very weird situation.
Yeah, definitely. This is the letter I posted on Twitter, and I'm sure most guys have seen it. But bits that caught my eye was down here, where he's talking about though they're merit neutral. They talk about how metal ETPs have consumer and industrial uses, and down while we approve the listing and trading of certain spot ETPs or Bitcoin ETP shares today, we did not approve or endorse Bitcoin. It's killing them inside, I think, to to have to approve this after everything they've done, especially with Grayscale and the denials, and they're basically, their hand has been forced into approval here. But for me, the markets didn't react exactly the way I thought they would. Personally, I thought we would see Bitcoin take off and leave altcoins would follow, but at a slower pace. So far, we're seeing altcoins. People don't like calling Cardano an altcoin, but just in this case, you can let me away with it. That everything else took off, and Bitcoin done okay. I don't know if yesterday people are a bit worried about yesterday it was approved and then it wasn't approved. And even when it was approved today, the approval document went up on the SEC website and then it was taken down within a few minutes. So people were still wondering, is it approved or not approved? But I think at this point we take it that yes, it is all approved and everything's okay. I think tomorrow the market open is going to be very interesting to see how the market reacts then. Does Bitcoin get a push, or is it the buy the rumor, sell the news type event? I don't know if anyone wants to be on the spot of their predictions on the market, or thoughts, not predictions, because no financial advice here.
I reckon we'll see a little bit more manipulation at this point in time before the market settles. But, you know, there's a lot happening this year for Bitcoin. So it's going to be interesting to see and revisit this back in another 3 months' time, or another 4 months' time when the halvening happens and everything else around it. But I'd just like to remind people that use 2FA, secure your Twitter accounts. They are rather important. This little device here, YubiKey, these are fantastic. It's a great way to secure your accounts as well. So you can connect that up with Binance and other crypto accounts too. So you have to have this physical key to log in.
I was just looking for my one of them as you're talking, and normally it's sitting on my desk, but I have it somewhere else. But yeah, YubiKey, I don't know what they are, $40, $50 or something like that.
They're
and it
so
means
cheap.
You have to have physical access to it to actually approve it. And for an agency that talks so much about security and best practices, and to hear that they didn't have 2FA on such a valuable account, they sued Elon Musk, was it last year, about tweets that manipulated the market. Are they liable? They're liable to an investigation anyway on what happened here. But I did hear one thing about that. There was a lot of account information leaked when Elon Musk got control of Twitter. I don't think it was him putting it out, but there was information leaked out at that time, and a lot of accounts and phone numbers linked to that were put out. So potentially they were using old phone numbers linked to the Twitter account for the SEC, their profile, and someone was able to get access to that, SIM swap it, and get access that way. I don't think there's anything been proven yet, but that's one of the theories that probably has some legs to it. But any other thoughts on the ETF before we move on to Cardano and what was the main topic of the video here?
Yeah, you know, Paul, I like you, thought that it would be Bitcoin taking off and everything else just kind of slowly creeping up behind. Maybe we'd see altcoins pumping 2 to 3% while Bitcoin shoots up, 10, 20%, something ridiculous. But I think that the collective sentiment in the market right now is that this is not just a historic day for Bitcoin. This is a historic day for cryptocurrency in the industry as a whole. And people are starting to realize that, like, oh, if Bitcoin can get legitimized and the cryptocurrency market always follows what Bitcoin does, the rest of the crypto market is coming. So I think what's happening right now is people trying to get ahead of that and just get involved in crypto as much as they can ahead of, Bitcoin that may very well see a 4, 5, I don't know, 6, 7x in this next bull cycle. But there's a lot of other altcoins that have a lot more growth potential, and this is the mark of the industry being legitimized. So that's what I think is happening, at least today.
Yeah. On that note, I want to just quickly add that I've actually had a few friends that have sent me text messages surrounding the ETF approval. So it's a really great start. And I tend to also agree with Pete that, over the next couple of months, you might get a pullback. And hopefully be able to buy some of this dip, right? Moving forward, I would like to just quickly plug in the live stream that Charles did. I want to say it was yesterday, surrounding two-factor authentication and how DITs can actually be used to verify tweets to prevent issues like we had yesterday as well. So if you guys missed that, that was really interesting, talking about utilizing blockchain technology and DIDs in order to verify when somebody tweets in order to prevent things like this from happening in the future.
Yeah, I suppose, look, the biggest lesson for people out there is security. And for most people, their Twitter isn't going to have to impact the SEC, but you look at any of your crypto accounts, if the markets go where we all think they can do now, make sure all your accounts are safe. Get a hardware wallet if you can. Again, like the YubiKey for hardware 2FA, they're not that expensive once you accumulate any decent bit at all. It's worth getting one of them. And if you are trading day in, day out, and you don't have a hardware wallet, have two hot wallets, one that you never interact with a DEX or with any Dapp, no matter how trusted it is. Have that as essentially your cold storage. Send funds between that and your other wallet, and use the other wallet as the one you interact with Dapps, just in case you ever do interact with a Dapp that can cause malicious. It's harder on Cardano, but it can happen. And we see with the NFTs, things are happening out there. So just be careful out there with any of that. Moving on then to Cardano. And I'm going to go around the table here about 2023. We'll talk about briefly and then get into 2024, what we're expecting, what we are hoping comes early or at some stage. 2023, Pete, what's your highlights for Cardano in 2023?
Mostly around the development of Cardano. So it's become so much easier with these DSLs out there, such as Option, PluTS, and Aiken, and Helios. Just those coming out and making that app development so much easier, so that developers can build these awesome dApps for us. So I think that's my biggest highlight, and probably one of the most impactful things in the Cardano ecosystem in 2023. And then some of these really cool dApps coming out, such as all these DEX aggregators. I know you guys are working quite hard on ADA markets as well, but seeing these like integrations of all of these dApps out there and having a nice interface and easy way to onboard users on and start trading, I think is a massive win for the ecosystem. And we're going to see this grow dramatically over the next year in 2024 too.
Yeah, sorry, I was just laughing at this tweet here. Kopi success will be the reason my dad speaks to me again. I don't know, is there another comment further up on that? But that one just caught my eye. Yeah, I agree. Definitely 2023, the development on Cardano has got a lot easier from talking to devs. I'm not a smart contract developer at all, but talk to a lot of different people building. And Aiken is the one I hear about a lot. I know there's other DSLs that you mentioned there, but it really has made a world of difference to Cardano. And we see the real big push now for dApps to get onto Aiken and Plutus V2 as quickly as possible, because that leads into what's going on with chain congestion and how full blocks are getting right now. Even without changing anything else, if everybody could move over to V2, then it will be massive. And it's not as simple. Today they move over and then all of a sudden all their traffic goes over. All the liquidity, everything like that has to be migrated. But hopefully we start to see a big push on that in Q1 of 2024. We'll get into that in a minute. Josh, 2023, what's your highlights?
Well, speaking of Kopi, I think that the big thing for me was having the early release of Cornucopias testing. I think that product building in the Cardano ecosystem offers a lot of adoption potential, but a lot of what I look forward to in the space, these new creative use cases for blockchain in the realm of NFTs and crypto, and creating those exciting things that we can like interact with people live in a virtual universe, beyond like live streams like this, but like just gaming and stuff. That's stuff that I really look forward to using, and I think it's going to be just as exciting in 2024.
And snake ETFs in 2024. Farid, 2023, how was it for you?
2023 was an amazing year. I would have to say some of my biggest highlights were probably towards the latter end of the year with some of the community events. We had Rare Evo followed by CNFTCon or NFTLV, and then we had the summit right after that. So to pull up, see a lot of these creators, see a lot of just the community members, and then see a lot of the projects actually building was really, really awesome to see. I'm excited to see how the turnout next year is going to be compared to this year, given the fact that crypto's basically waking back up. In terms of the ecosystem, I want to say it's been really awesome to see all these protocols maturing, seeing a lot more projects now talking about V2, right? Which means that they finally got something out there and they're now looking to iterate and make things even easier, smoother, faster for us end users. So I'm excited about all of that. And then also some of the projects that are really beginning to have a real world impact, I want to just quickly shout out two of them, World Mobile, and then also want to quickly shout out the Zengate team. I just interviewed them yesterday, and it's really good to see that, both of these platforms are really reaching the masses that may not be aware of what's going on in crypto, really giving us that exposure that we need, not just within the existing, blockchain world, but reaching out to some of these commodities, some of these third world countries, and really doing what we're supposed to be doing in this space, which is, again, spreading the good gospel of decentralization, permissionlessness, and trustlessness. So I'm looking forward to, the chain continuing to wake up and all of these additional governance updates, which should be coming next year.
Nice. Some good some good highlights there. And Peter, see your comment here about Cornucopias. I don't know if public Rob can comment on that, if it's still open to everybody to go in and test, but maybe Rob can sort you out.
If you have an NFT, you can jump in. You can just connect to your player account, create it, and then you can download it right there. So it's pretty available.
Some of our upcoming streams should be maybe a race.
Yeah, totally. I've been wanting to get I bought the NFTs. I've got like a bubble jet and a couple of different vehicles, and I thought, maybe if I buy this one, I get access to something. I didn't have much time to dig into it, but if I can get into it now, great. Let's race, guys. I'll kick all your asses. Just saying.
Yeah, we'll put that really early in the morning. For me right now, it's nearly midnight. So I took the hit on this one. Normally, Pete gets the real short end of the straw with these ones. What else am I missing here before we get into 2024? Yeah, this could be a topic in 2024. Sidechains, Trim, maybe we could have a chat sometime if you are up for coming on for a chat about some of the things you're doing, your opinions on sidechains, midnight, how that's going to play into things. Drop me a message if you're up for that and we can have a chat. But what do you guys think? Sidechains going to be a topic? Midnight doesn't count as a sidechain, or does it count as a sidechain? Josh, you're mute.
I clicked it, but it didn't unmute. No, I don't think that Midnight counts as a sidechain. It's a partner chain that can connect to multiple different other blockchains for the use case that it's designed for. I think sidechains specifically built within Cardano will really help with the scalability issues, the throughput issues. I think that that's going to be like transformative for the adoption potential of Cardano as a blockchain. Yeah, I think that's going to be like a central topic of conversation in 2024 for Cardano.
Nice. I guess 10 a.m. must be Australia somewhere.
Yeah.
What is it for you, Pete?
9 minutes to 10 for me.
Ah, yeah. Nice. Really important comment here. Smash the like. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe to the three guys down below. I normally forget to say that enough. Fraction Estate. Trim says Midnight is a sidechain.
I stand corrected.
I don't know. I've seen it called a lot of different things, but that's one thing going into 2024. Hopefully we get more clarification, information around it when we might expect to see it. I know it's called a partner chain, but that's a new term in itself for me anyway. And I think most people out there, how a partner chain is going to work. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing more clarification on her, hopefully early in in 2024. What's your thoughts on, will we see it in 2024 live on a mainnet, or any timeline you're guessing for a launch?
From my back channels, I've heard sometime this year, but late this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they're aiming for late this year, Cardano
Probably
developments, normally
next
we add a few quarters onto that. Where Trim, any leaks, any insider information there? We'll wait for that reply. Farid, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in no rush. I think the slower the better. It's interesting, kind of like with Mehen, right? Them taking a little bit of time to make sure that they do things the right way. I know there's been a lot of pressure coming in on Charles and Aaron Barak to like give us more details into, give us all the nuance. But sometimes I think it's better to just build in silence and just let us know when it's ready. I would love to get in and see exactly what's being built on that DevNet. I think one of the few projects that's actually shown us a little bit of something has been Iagon. And so hopefully more projects begin to kind of show us what they've got built. So to have really seen that Iagon had already gotten something utilizing the Midnight infrastructure was really good to see. Very eye-opening. And so if they're able to get something up within, the first 2 to 3 months, I'm assuming that there's other builders that also have something that's probably ready to show. I think now the cohorts are up to like over 1,000 people that are now on the DevNet. So hopefully we get to see more soon. And as Pete said, if it's able to come out this year, I think that's going to be really, really bullish for Cardano and the opportunities that it brings with that service model, right? Where we can now get the dust and other tokens given out to delegators.
Yeah, I think that's what really caught people's attention, was the dust airdrop and questions in around that. And I don't think we still don't have any more answers on it, only that every ADA holder will get it, no matter where you're delegated or anything like that. And then there'll be other opportunities later on. And I'm sure as soon as any of us have any kind of dates that we might see any of that kind of stuff, we'll all have videos out within the day on the info for that. But what else, 2024, what else are you guys looking for Cardano to bring? I suppose earlier in the year, for me personally anyway, scalability. I think as we get more into a bull market, we already see with chain congestion at the minute. I know there's different trains of thought on how we can fix that, but I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed fairly soon, or else once we get into a bull market, I know the chain keeps chugging away and it will eventually get all the transactions through, but your finality on transactions isn't going to be good. It's not a great trading experience for new people coming in, those of us who are here a while, unless the token is just launched and we're trying to get in early when something's going to happen on it. You don't mind waiting that extra bit of time, but people coming in from other chains are used to things happening a lot faster. And I don't mean we don't have to have 1 second finality or anything like that, but I think we definitely have to have scalability as a big factor. And I don't know, is it the Chang hard fork is the next one? I think that's nearly all in around governance. Or have any of you guys heard any scalability coming into that? Or I know you can up the block size, you don't need a hard fork for things like that, and they're kind of easy wins, but there has to be certain upper limits, I suppose, on what you can do there too.
I haven't heard any scaling additions into that hard fork just yet. It's mainly focused around the governance side of things, I believe. So we might not see any performance increases with that one. But yeah, you're right. So the block size increases and the block times are just parameter changes. So they're quite easy for us SPOs to deal with. But I think one of the main things that we will see is some of these platforms upgrade to Aiken, use more Plutus V2 scripts. And also I'm pretty bullish on Pi's SIP proposal to bring backwards compatibility for V1 scripts. So like you were saying earlier, Paul, a lot of these liquidity, staked liquidity on all these DEXs and other protocols, they are stuck in V1 scripts, and people have to migrate that liquidity to V2 scripts. that's going to be a big ask for a lot of people. Some people just leave the liquidity and then come back in like 6-7 months time or whatever. So being able to upgrade some of these V1 scripts and create that optimization there, have that extra space. Supply claims, we can free up 40% space in these blocks and cram in more transactions. So I think that's a really big win for the ecosystem, and upgrade some of these legacy scripts that will be hanging around for quite a while.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be important, is to get dApps upgrading to Plutus V2 or Aiken. I think anything written in Aiken is Plutus V2, isn't it, by standard? And
yeah.
Is this alpha trim that V3? So can we take that as alpha, that V3 is coming soon?
Hashtag confirmed.
That's it, yeah. There's the alpha for the show.
I heard some people just skipping V2 and going straight to V3. So yeah.
Yeah, I think a big thing that caught dApps out on, I know SundaeSwap anyway, were caught out on, they always thought that V2 would be backwards compatible with V1. And when we got things like reference scripts and things like that, that help, that you don't have to include the scripts in every transaction, they thought that that would be backwards compatible with V1. And I think originally it was going to be, but that changed. I don't know the technicals around why it did, but Pi's SIP is definitely interesting. And from the reaction of other devs out there, it seems that it's possible without any big changes to the ledger or anything like that, that it wouldn't be a massive undertaking to allow it. So even with the liquidity, there's going to be liquidity left, probably liquidity left on the older scripts for years to come, because there's people will have put in, they will have forgot about it. Every so often when I use different test wallets that I have, I see I put a small amount of liquidity in somewhere or different things for tutorial videos and things like that. And there's people have done that with wallets where they're going to come back in a few years to crypto, or during the bull market, they might start to come back. Maybe next year they'll come back and have a look. So there's going to be a lot of liquidity stuck in V1. So if we can have wins like that, then it's going to be great. Let me see what else. Any other thoughts for going forward? Is there a date on the Chang hard fork yet? I don't think I've seen anything nailed on for it.
The article on Emergo that I've got pulled up here just says at the start of Q2 2024.
Okay. That's at the start of Q2?
Yep, at the start of Q2.
You can't put a date on development, can you?
It's true.
Yeah.
I tend to try to apply a level of patience to these things where it's like, I know that they've set a date, but I'm just going to take that as a general recommendation of like when we might be able to see it.
Yeah. And if that one is fully governance based, or the majority is governance based, it's one that I'm not as worried about trying to rush in. I know governance, we want to have it in on chain, but we also want to have it in right. If there was something along scalability and you were trying to get that in before the big surge in the market, then I'd be more worried about trying to push that one in earlier. But Farid, your thoughts on all this?
I was actually going to talk a little bit about not necessarily the hard fork, but expectations for 2024 stablecoins. I know that a couple of my latest videos have been touching on stablecoins, and that seems to kind of be like a point of irritation with the community. And so it seems like a lot of people are asking for more liquidity. Obviously, we just got the update from Mahen about them pushing back until March. And on that particular video, every single comment's like, hey, we need USDC or we need USDT. And so I think just focusing more on that, seeing potentially a push back from Emergo to get USDA back online in addition to Mahen. I don't think that this particular liquidity battle is going to be solved by one protocol. I think that just like with DEXs, just like with oracles, etc., we need a variety. We need a lot of different choices. And so Mahen, I think, is one of those choices. But for anybody who maybe wants to do something like JED IUSD, USDA, USDC, USDT, if those were to be integrated, those would also be viable options. So my goal or my hope is that this year we see another kind of pivot back over to focusing on getting more liquidity back into the ecosystem. And then also even adoption of existing platforms. So I spoke with Temujin Louis from the Wanchain Bridge at the summit. And he had actually mentioned that right now they're looking for more ways to onboard people to utilize the USDT, USDC, and DAI, which they've now bridged over, right? So people continuously ask for liquidity, but we're not utilizing, at least in my eyes, to the potential what we currently have. So that's really kind of my thing that I'm going to be kind of looking forward to and trying to stay up to date with is how do we get more liquidity in here? Because we've got a lot of projects, but if we can't get people to actually come in here, what purpose does it serve? Obviously, we're all here creating content around Cardano. We love and we believe all the builders, and we're trying to do our best to support them. But we need people coming in from outside that aren't here today to come in and say, hey, I want to deploy my capital into Cardano. And if that means doing that through Mahen, doing that through the on-chain bridge, or doing that through some sort of other stable coin, then I'm all for that. So that's my goal. And that's what I'm going to be kind of looking forward to this year is just some ways to get more liquidity into Cardano.
Yeah, I fully agree on that. And definitely something we need to see in Cardano for if we want trading to really kick off. Like trading is good in Cardano at the minute, but liquidity, if you look at volume, it looks good within Cardano, but if you compare it across other chains, then it's still very small amounts. And a lot of that is stablecoins. We don't have proper stablecoins right now. And some people will give out when I say we don't have proper ones. I know we have ZED, I know we have IUSD, but you look at the peg, sometimes ZED, now that we're into a better market, is actually performing fairly well. And even Shen, it's better for people to get into Shen now, but when the market was going down, there was a lot more risks to getting in. So in a market like we're in right now, and hopefully going to stay in for a while, then ZED is going to perform better. But we really do still need fiat-backed stablecoins, like you touched on there with USDM. I think March 16th is the proposed date for launching now. Hopefully St. Patrick's Day here in Ireland, the 17th, I'll have something extra to celebrate with USDM being live, fiat-backed stablecoin. Again, on that one, I haven't heard anything around the capital that they're going to have behind that or the liquidity that it's going to bring in. Like you mentioned, Farid, we need liquidity to come in from the outside into the ecosystem too. And hopefully they're able to get that liquidity to come in. The on-chain bridge, it's great to have them options. I think they're a nice stepping stone, but to me personally, I still want to have something that's natively on-chain, whether that's USDM or hopefully eventually we do see USDT, USDC, because whatever people think about them, they've been around a long time. They are stable. Yes, they have had their scares at different times, but they have been battle tested and have stood up against that. So hopefully we do eventually see them coming in because they're the ones that it's very easy for people to bring capital from other ecosystems into Cardano now. And I know there's different ways you can bring it in and you can go cross-chain, but you hit a lot of fees. We want to have it natively on-chain that you don't always want to trade two volatile assets. But did anyone hear anything on USDC or USDT? I know there's rumors around they wanted, was it 8 figures to bring USDC in? But they have been expanding to a lot of other chains. Are they all paying or are they just being let in? Because it's good for Circle, the issuer of USDC, is there's more being used because there's more fees for them when it's being minted and burned at the actual source. But anyone hear about the other chains? Are they paying or is it just, has that changed?
I can't comment on the other chains, but from an ambassador call with the Cardano Foundation, it was an obscene amount of money that Circle was asking for. And it's not just to integrate it in, it's also market makers as well. So you need that liquidity there. So it's coming from someone. So if it's not coming from Circle, it's coming from the people that are asking for that service, that stablecoin to come into that particular market. So it may be like the other chains are paying or providing liquidity as well to actually make that all happen. And on our side of things, in the Cardano ecosystem, we don't do that whole pay to play kind of thing. So it's just how it is. It's just the stance that the foundation, IG and Amerigo have for that kind of thing. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's, if there was going to be 10 million, if that's what it is, or maybe it's more, put towards bringing it in, I would actually rather see that put into USDM at this stage to put liquidity in there, because even to kick off the market, that should be enough to give decent liquidity to start. And then once there is liquidity there, that should attract other people to come in and start using it. And I think because, or the last time I talked to the team, they were going to be using the same bank as USDC. So you could actually bring your USDC through the bank and into USDM if you wanted to go that way. I know there would be KYC and stuff, but it's a nice way to bring funds in. I just see a message here. I don't know if I missed something further up, Adan, about how do you get your $1,800 from your wallet? You've been asking and nobody wants to help you retrieve your money. I'm not sure if that's due to losing keys or anything, but if you want to drop me an email rather than putting details there, drop me an email, paul@cardanopaul.com, and I'll try and help you if I can. Let's see, what else have we got?
While you're pulling up some comments, there's also the other requirement from Circle and Tether to be able to freeze assets. So, you know, as a Cardano native token, you can't natively freeze an asset. So the US regulations require these stable assets to be able to freeze. And, you know, if they can see money being funded, being used for terrorist activities, they want to be able to stop that. So that was a big thing. But I had been talking to someone, and they mentioned that Nick from Saturn NFT came up with a maybe a new smart contract, and he termed it virtual assets that could allow you to freeze assets. So I think he has written the scripts for it. He just needs $10 million to create a stablecoin.
Yeah, is that a solid? That used to be the excuse that you had to freeze the assets, and I have seen it quoted like that for legal reasons. You have to. Was that clarified? Remember in the call that Charles, I think it was Charles first mentioned the 8 figures on a Twitter space, but was it clarified then that if you put up the 8 figures, would they actually bring it on without being able to freeze it, or would we need something where it's created within a smart contract? Was that discussed anywhere?
No, I do not know. I don't know any clarity behind that, but from what I've seen and read from a lot of reports lately, there are people at Tether, for example, that work with regulators to freeze certain assets. So the regulators would want that ability to be able to stop funds flowing from certain organizations.
Okay, so yeah, and from Emergo stablecoin and Anzens, I'm not thinking of the name. This is the baby brain frog now that's coming up. What's USDA. The Emergo? Yes, USDA. I haven't heard anything on that. I don't think it's completely dead in the water, but I don't think there's any progress on it, or I'm not really expecting that to come anytime soon.
There hasn't been any updates.
I had a conversation with one of the devs. This was back when they canned it back in 2023, early 2023, and it was all around the regulation space, and they were going to use SVB as their custodial holder. And if they dumped their 10 million or whatever they're going to use into SVB just before it crashed, would have completely wiped the stablecoin even before it launched. So it's a risky part. So that's the main thing why they held back. They wanted better economic conditions and better regulations around the space before they enter back in. So hopefully they do. Hopefully it is this year. Hopefully we do see some better economic environments for them to actually launch it.
Okay. And actually this one, just when we were talking about freezing, yeah, USDM won't have the ability to freeze funds, but it looks like it's a goal. That was, I think I asked the team, it's a good while ago since I had them on to ask about it, but that's definitely, if any of you guys have them on before I do, put that question to them about the freezing. Has anything changed there, or can they launch? I know they're going a different route. They're going state by state, but even the overall laws, definitely no expert in US law, but I presume if there is something there that says USDC and USDT have to be freezable, then I'd love to know what the workaround is that USDM have, because they've definitely done their due diligence, even with pushing it out due to the recommendations. I think it was with SundaySwap doing the audit, or Sunday Labs, that they decided to push it out. So be interested to see that. Let's see, what else have I missed in the comments here?
There
I think
there was a comment. I'll just take a quick stab at it. This was from oneafrica.io. It's around like 5:15, 5:20. But this was about GoKey. And so GoKey has been building, and I just wanted to just quickly say that their DAO was recently approved as an LLC. I believe it was in the state of Wyoming. So if you guys are looking to potentially invest in properties, take a look at GoKey and join their Discord as well as their DAO. So you can actually partner up with other real estate investors to basically buy a portion of a property together. And then I think they've also still got their ISPO going. So they've made some updates to that as well with the amount of rewards going out. So just wanted to quickly answer and touch on that for oneafrica.io.
Okay, and yeah, it's a project I haven't really looked into. My list of projects seems to get longer rather than shorter, but I think that's a good thing, and that's probably take us into projects that are coming in 2024 or projects that are upgrading to get onto that. But Pete, I think you were going to say something first.
Yeah, I noticed the GoKey project buying up my Cardano Press GoKey branded NFTs. So I noticed more and more of them are appearing in their wallet. So maybe they're going to do a giveaway or something.
Okay, nice. Projects then. Crypto Moose was asking about my number one token, but I'll come to that towards the end. I'll ask you about tokens that you're bullish on for going forward. But any projects, not price wise on this one, but projects you're looking forward to launching or coming into play for Cardano that can make a difference? Josh, let's throw you up first.
I think I don't think it's any secret that Cornucopias has been the number one project that I've had my eyes on for the past like 2 years now. Yeah, I'm really excited to, play the game that they have planned once all of the right mechanisms are in place and like the full MMO universe is live. I'm excited to get together with the Knights Guild. I'm one of the leaders of that one, which is one of the biggest guilds in the community. And we're going to be going at it full force. It's really cool to have a community like that. That's just like so unified and excited about what's happening there. And on top of that, just like for the Cardano blockchain, they've got a whole lot of adoption potential. They're reaching out to other chains in a very substantial way. They're accessible on other chains. You can get Copy on Uniswap. You can get Copy on BNB. I'm sure there'll be more expansions happening soon and more centralized exchange expansions happening throughout all of this year. So I think that's definitely going to be one that's going to do a lot for Cardano in 2024.
Yeah, I think that trend in general, gaming is gaming and real world use cases, I think, or I hope, takes over more in this cycle than we've seen in previous cycles, that because there's actually something more behind them rather than just recycling the same money around. Look, there's good projects outside them, but I think they're two use cases that can really show what blockchain can actually do, or gaming in particular, as an onboarding way for crypto. And there was some other comments I seen there. Might have to come back to it. Yeah, lots of people agreeing with Copy going multi-chain. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. It gives more exposure to, it shows what's being built on Cardano too, because lots of times people outside of Cardano say there's nothing being built there, or nothing of interest being built. But when you see the quality of the game then as a showpiece for Cardano, then it definitely piques a lot of people's interest to come in and take it out. And actually, Copy Moose, on my token, I think Copy, in terms of Cardano native assets, full disclosure, it's one of the bigger bags that I have for native tokens on Cardano, because I've been holding it since day one that they launched. So especially over the last few months, that's been a nice one to be holding. We might come back onto that towards the end of it. Vegas was asking as well about, where's that one gone? We talked a little bit about this at the beginning, just for anyone who's joining us later on the Bitcoin ETF. Yes, all Bitcoin ETFs were approved today. I personally wasn't expecting the ADA and altcoins to run the way that they did. I thought it would be Bitcoin shooting up and the rest going up at a slower pace, but suffering against BTC. I've been holding back some Bitcoin to put into other tokens when the ETFs happened. So my expectation was that everything against Bitcoin would suffer. I'd be able to pick up some nice bags at that. So I'm not giving up hope on it. I still think it might happen, but I did expect it to happen today. Either way, I'm happy. My bags are packed for the longer term. But Farid, projects you're looking at? Actually, I see the Twitter comments are working. We have Josh from Cornucopias there too. Good to see you, Josh. With Rob in there earlier on. We'll have to catch up at some point soon. But good to see StreamYard has the Twitter comments coming in now. See more of them coming into the feed, which is good. But Farid, 2024 projects that you're looking forward to launching, or maybe that are already launched and they're upgrading or can make a difference in 2024?
Yeah, I want to just maybe reiterate Kopi. I think they've got like the magic mix. Not only are they delivering, they're super transparent. Rob and Josh and the rest of the crew really putting together solid products, their NFT marketplace, etc. But without going too much deeper on Kopi, because again, I think that was kind of Josh's pick as well. I want to really highlight World Mobile. They're one that I have been really keeping up with as of late. Mickey, the rest of the team, making huge achievements, not only within the crypto space, right? With adoption, I think they've now got over 50,000 users, over 1,000 airnodes deployed in 2023 alone. And then they're now rolling out in the United States. Again, not only are they building, utilizing crypto, they're having that real world impact, very similar to Zengate that I mentioned earlier, also very similar to Book.io, right? Where you can onboard people that have no idea about crypto onto these platforms, and that introduces them and probably makes them want to learn a little bit more about crypto. So World Mobile is definitely one that I'm keeping a super close eye on. And what's really interesting, and I would love to get your guys' thoughts on this. I understand, of course, that we're in the bull market, so things maybe just don't play out like we expect, but World Mobile has actually been one of the tokens that's kind of just been slowly, kind of bleeding out against a lot of these meme coins and just against ADA in general. So it's been super surprising for me to see a project like that that's delivered on so many fronts. They've been super transparent, super visible, and shown that they're organized, really not getting a lot of the price appreciation. Again, I know this is not a price focused conversation, but they're definitely one that I think could be a huge opportunity if you play your cards right in the upcoming bull run, especially with the narrative around decentralized physical infrastructure, the DPIN. And so that is the one that I'll go ahead and pick for this.
Yeah, that's another good pick, and one anyone watching my channel for a while now will be very familiar with. I think Mickey was on originally back in 2022. There was the Africa special, something like that, and then he was on a month later. So it's what I think has a lot of potential going forward. You mentioned there about it bleeding out, and yeah, it definitely, price action the last while hasn't been great on the project. They've been doing really well on the telecom side and pushing out there, but I think a lot of people are losing patience a bit on the blockchain side and wanting to see mainnet going live. And I think once that type of stuff starts to kick in, testnet, I don't know if we're getting, some people say we're getting it in Q1, we're getting the incentivized testnet, others say it's going to be later. I've given up on guessing kind of timelines for it. I think once it does come, it will be really good for the project, and hopefully they can get that out so that the blockchain side starts to match the real world impact that they are having. And if Josh is still listening there on Twitter, yeah, we're all talking about how Pete's going to be coming last in the race for the live stream when we do it for Cornucopias. But Pete, I'll hand it over to you for projects that you're looking forward to.
Last, hey? All right. I had to write this list down, or otherwise I would forget something. So this is what I'm looking out for in 2024. So anything around real world assets and tokenization. So Palmyra, Twin, they're my picks there in the Cardano ecosystem. But big entities like JP Morgan are looking at tokenizing funds. So, you know, if Wall Street are looking at using tokenization of what they're doing, RWAs is definitely going to be a big push in 2024. So definitely keeping an eye out for that. Then also the privacy side of things. So projects like ZK Fold, Midnight, obviously. Those I think we really need to watch as well, because they bring in a lot of what institution and enterprises need to be able to transfer assets. If a hedge fund's going to make a trade of some sort, they don't want their competitors to see it. They need that level of privacy. Then, of course, anything GameFi, Copy, looking forward to anything around that space. And, you know, everything I've seen around Copy, I'm super excited about, just want to play the game. And then anything else that brings in that real world utility. Noom, Igon, Book, Word Mobile, and then people that are implementing those solutions as well. So all those people that are providing petabytes of storage, incredible. And then people like and teams like Mav 100 actually going out and installing air nodes everywhere around their area. So I can't wait to see what they come up with and what they start running with. Having that community owned air nodes, that's just amazing. Like that's just something that blockchain is built for, and I can't wait to see more of that happen.
Yeah, a lot of good picks, and I like the real world use cases, things that are bringing outside of crypto in. I think it's about time. Other cycles have been all stuck in the one circle. It was all just recycled within crypto, and there's lots of good projects even within that allow that with DeFi. But I think it's time to expand out and really give exposure to the projects that are trying to make an impact outside of just blockchain and bring in, whether it's bringing Web3 into it or bringing like deep in, like Farid mentioned about the using real world infrastructure. And like deep in, that's a term, I don't know if it's just me seeing it on Twitter a lot lately, but it's starting to trend a lot more about using real world infrastructure and rewarding people for that with crypto, with the likes of World Mobile and Igon, I suppose, are two of the biggest examples of that on Cardano right now. We're going to see a lot more like that going forward. And I'm just going through the comments. If I've missed anything, you guys can shout. Yeah, this is something I don't know if we're going to see this change in this cycle or in 2024 anyway, is the term altcoins. And I know there's some people or lots of people within Cardano that don't like the term altcoin and ADA being called an altcoin and anything but Bitcoin. But let's see, the comment fully means to, yeah, so to random people, I suppose to people outside of crypto, it still says that it's an alternative coin to Bitcoin, because there's a lot of people out there that still think crypto is Bitcoin. They don't even know that there's anything beyond that. And that's why when people come into crypto first, they come into Bitcoin or they just talk about Bitcoin. And at least in the last cycle, when people were asking me about crypto, they weren't asking me about getting into crypto. They were asking me about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is crypto. And when you'd be talking to them, they would use the two terms interoperable. And it was just, that's the way they see it. So as we get into more real world use cases for crypto, I think that's when the term altcoins might evolve then, and people start to see that it's not just Bitcoin and the other coins, that there's actual other ones out there. And we always have Hosky too, that I see being mentioned in the comments. What else have I missed here? And shout if I've missed anything here. Actually long.
There's a question about the FUD surrounding EXO.
Yeah, probably a good topic. Can't see the comment. It's a good sign there's lots of comments and even likes. We're getting close to 100. If we could pass 100, that would be nice for the stream. But Axo, yeah, Axo definitely didn't have the start that they wanted to have. Before the testnet came out, I didn't see how they would live up to the hype of the project, of what the expectation was. But to be honest, the testnet definitely blew me away in terms of what I was expecting. And there was some delays with the LSE and then even getting involved in it. Now, I haven't followed it today for obvious reasons. The last week or so, my time has been limited in getting involved. I did try and put in a limit order when it launched, but the limit order, I just got back my ADA rather than getting back the AXO. So I'm not sure if that's the way it's meant to have worked, or that after a certain time it failed out, but there wasn't a time on it. It was good till cancelled. So I need to dive a bit deeper into it. But what's your guys' impressions of it? I know there's definitely people not impressed with it for how it's launched so far. In some ways, it's more complex. I think some of it will be down to not understanding, but I definitely think there is issues there too. But anyone who's took a deeper look?
Yeah, I went live with it. So as soon as the LSE went live, I did a live stream. I played around with it. I have to say it's would have confused a lot of people in regards to what on earth was going on. And that was the biggest thing that I saw from the comments on Discord, on DMs to me, and etc. Like, some people were not understanding when putting in a limit order, they didn't have those limit orders being executed for the first couple of hours, then not knowing what to do next after that. So I saw some terrible orders go through. Of course, that very first 50K one was just a troll, but other people did follow in and do some absolutely terrible trades after that. But I think one of the bigger issues that we saw at the moment with AXO was some of their off-chain processing and cancellation of orders and processing of the actual orders afterwards. Some of those didn't come through. Some of them didn't work correctly. So that might have been something that you saw there, Paul. But I know a lot of other people still have cancellation orders still waiting to come back. Apparently, it will come back. It will come back soon. It was just like a pending queue that takes a little bit of time to process.
Okay, yeah, I'm not fully up to date on it today. I didn't get to even look in the Discord, so I'm not sure what the latest is. Or Josh, Farid, have you guys been keeping up with it?
Yeah, as excited as I am about the AXO protocol, I stayed away from the LSE just because I fully expected that like the price would take off like crazy. And for me, I think it launched at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. So it was while I was sleeping anyway. But price tends to not be something that I pay attention to in any regard to like the true value of blockchain. Prices that are reflected, especially like today, is like not even something that I'm blinking at. So I'm excited about what they're building, but I am not really all that well informed about what people are upset about when it comes to the AXO stuff, unless it's like the price situation, because that's something that I've noticed. I did hear something about some trade cancellations, people's ADA not getting returned to them in a timely manner. That could be something that people are also upset about. Impatience is, I think, how I would label it.
I think one of the problems is also some of the communication. Like when these tweets came out, it was like a wall of text, and some of it took a little bit of deciphering to work out what was going on. And so I think a little bit of improvement on the communication style and the way they write things. The posts that come out on the AXO website are very long, very lengthy. We need slightly shorter communication methods, and something that people can easily digest, as opposed to those big long wall of text and massive long posts that are very technical.
Yeah, I think people are still looking for the tutorials around it too, of people going in and actually showing how to use it all and what it's complex. Like it's not like the dexes we've seen on Cardano so far. There's a lot of differences in it, and hopefully once things settle down, I'll be able to have a chat with Yarrick. It's well over a year ago, I think, that I talked to him last, but to find out about it and some of the differences in it and how things work, because things don't work exactly like like they have on other dexes so far. Farid, any thoughts before we move on? I see actually we're coming up on the hour, so I forgot to check time-wise with you guys before we started, but we'll try and finish up soon enough.
Yeah, I'm good on time. No issues on my end. I think you and maybe Pete. I think Pete's good this time, but looks like maybe you, Paul, might be the one that needs to go to sleep first. On the Axo conversation, I just wanted to say two things. Just generally speaking, Axo's brought in a lot of features and a lot of possibilities that weren't here before. And so with something like that, I think there needs to be a lot of time for the community to kind of soak it in, understand it, and play around with it. And hopefully people that took part of the LSE had done, their research and had tried to better understand the platform on the testnet. To that end, I think that the very same thing that we're seeing with Axo right now has also played out with the launch of OPT, which is the OptionFlow platform, right? Where these are like brand new tools, and the community is used to some of the platforms, for example, like Minswap, ViFi, Wing Riders, etc. But they haven't really taken the time to dive deep into options and trading strategies, algorithms, and to be fully transparent, I haven't had the time to do that either. So I'm not sitting here saying that I'm an expert on these platforms. A lot of my time goes into creating content. But when I do have the downtime, I try to jump in on these test nets, check it out. And so I think that's really the biggest disconnect that I've seen with these platforms, is that they're providing all these brand new tools, but the community hasn't really had the time to play around and really digest everything that they have to offer. So in this particular instance, I think that it probably would have been better to go with something that has been tried and tested, for example, like the Minswap LBE, which I think the Fluid Tokens team is going to be actually utilizing, right? So Indigo utilized it, little to no issues. I think Makasi also utilized that, little to no issues. And so I'm going to be keeping an eye out on seeing how FLDT does. And moving forward, I think that a lot of projects should actually consider utilizing that approach as opposed to their own approaches. And again, it's no knock on Axo. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna have to do their own sort of liquidity bootstrapping to kind of try something different. But after the current response, it seems like maybe they would have been better off utilizing something that was a little bit simpler, that the community kind of understood from the jump, because there were a lot of questions surrounding the LSE. And then now it seems to be like somewhat of a chaotic event, where, as Pete mentioned earlier, people are asking for refunds, things aren't being processed, etc. So it's unfortunate because this one was definitely hyped up. Hopefully they're able to kind of get some more communications out there and kind of clear things up. But the LBE route, I think, is where most people should be going moving forward, given the community's experience and current level of knowledge. That's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think the LBE is a good route where people can put their funds in and out and decide the it's a more straightforward way to decide the price of what it's going to be. I know there's been other variations on it, and there's launch pads, but you have to hold certain tokens to get into the launch pad. So I think something like the LBE is one of the fairest ways that you can actually launch a token. Or you mentioned OptionFlow as well there, and yeah, there's a lot of people not happy with the platform when it launched there. And I think, again, it's a new type of trading. It's another one I haven't got to jump into yet. So I don't know if it is actually just hard to use or hard to learn how it works, or if there is actual issues with the protocol. It's one I will try and jump into in the next few weeks. But when they done the launch, again, they had a wallet. You sent all the funds in and you got back a percentage of your allocation. But in them kind of cases, they have predetermined the price from what I remember of it. So again, it's a fair enough way to do it if you want to be the one to set the initial price. But something like the LBE is a great way to go, and you don't get the initial spike up in price and dump off. And some people get in really high and end up holding bags for a lifetime trying to get back into profit. And it puts a bad taste into people's mouths about a project. And I've seen comments about the 50K ADA for one Axo. That wasn't actually a trade. Well, it was a trade, but someone didn't pay 50K ADA. They paid, I don't know what it was, a few ADA, and got 0.0002 of an Axo. But that sets the actual price per Axo at 50K ADA. So I did see something about people spending bigger amounts on it, but it's one I'll probably look into and try and put a video out. But any other topics you guys want to cover before we finish up? Thomas, appreciate the super sticker. Knock. Knock or Nook currency? Not sure on that one, actually. You have to let us know. Risk Gaming, yep, we are live. We're live. Should be live on Twitter and YouTube. And I think this actually streams to Twitch, but I never look at Twitch. It just automatically goes out there too. Scrolling down through the comments here. But if there's anything else, Minswap burn, will we see more projects burning tokens in 2024? Or is this an approach? I think looking at it yesterday, it's fairly set now, unless there's some major whales come in to change the vote, that they're going to burn 40% of their overall supply. This was always a criticism of Minswap and their tokenomics, was that the supply was way too high. So I think overall for the project, it's going to be good. Some cases, burns can be good. If it's a burn just for the sake of pumping a project, then I've seen one project, I can't even remember what it was now, but they launched, and in the tokenomics, it was they were going to burn a certain percent of the tokens the day after launching. But I don't understand that. Why bother having it in there if it's nothing but trying to pump the I don't even know what the project was at this stage. But any closing topics or thoughts on anything here?
Looking forward to Minswap V2 and everything the team bring out. It's going to be exciting 2024 for them.
Yeah, really looking forward to a lot of the features, and especially some of the features are around routing, which you have on other chains. So basically, if I want to swap my World Mobile to Iagon, I don't have to first sell it for ADA and then sell the ADA into Iagon. I can do one trade, and then the DEX basically does that in the back end, but it means I don't have to personally submit the two trades. Things like that I think are going to be very useful going forward. Trim mentions here, I think we touched on a little bit, Iagon and hitting over, what are the stats now? Past 1,000 terabytes anyway earlier on, maybe yesterday or the day before. It's great to see. It's another real world use case. So it's good to see things like that. And I'll have a few videos coming out on that as I joined up with the ambassador program there. So I'll be doing some of the tutorials on how to set up the nodes and how to interact with it. So anyone interested, you will see some of them coming out fairly soon. But Farid, anyone with topics, drop them in the comments. We're going to finish up here in a few minutes. But Farid, anything from you? Any topics or closing thoughts?
Yeah, not necessarily topics, maybe closing thoughts. Over the past couple of months, there's been a lot of progress being made in the ecosystem. A lot of people have returned. And so I think moving forward, I mean, just from a content perspective, I'll definitely try to be a little bit more active, trying to listen to the community, trying to collaborate with you guys and doing these things. Just excited to be a part of these types of events. And again, things are finally heating up. So for anybody who's new to the ecosystem, check out these other content creators, check out these awesome builders we've got on the network. And that's really it for me, man. Like I said, excited for what 2024 has to bring. Looking forward to hopefully catching up with you guys at some of these in-person events and just providing the coverage and leverage that we can bring to this ecosystem for everybody that's building here and pushing us forward.
Yeah, I think on the collaborations, we'll definitely try and make these at least once a month for 2024. Catch-ups like this, talking about all different things. And Enoch has some good projects here that we didn't actually mention. Butane, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing how they do synthetics. And they have some interesting ideas that are going to be different. Optum and their launch of the name Leviathan. It's too
Leviathan.
Leviathan.
I'll go with that. I won't even try to say it again. But that's another thing. I'm looking forward to seeing their implementation of what they're going to do there. Could be some good things for DeFi, but I don't think it's still fully clear on exactly what they're going to do. There was some articles or even a white paper come out recently. Again, haven't got to dive into it. Splash, that's another one. Spectrum Finance is going to become Splash. they're definitely talking a big game on Twitter. They're putting out a lot of posts about the speed increases and the processing and how things are, what it's going to be, but we haven't seen the details on how it's going to work yet. That's what I'm definitely looking forward to. And USDM, we talked about there earlier on. Genius Yield, I'm actually sitting down with, I was going to say tomorrow, but it's later today at this stage since we're past midnight, sitting down with Lars and Marvin to have a chat about how the launch has gone and what's next for Genius. So drop any comments if there's questions on that. But Pete, I'm going to hand it over to you then for your closing thoughts.
I don't think I got anything else. I'm just looking forward to creating some awesome content this year. It's yeah, I've already seen numbers go up across all of our channels. So it's going to be a fun year creating content, I think, for Cardano, and I'll definitely be doing a lot of FUD fighting this year. So it's
yeah, I like
I saw Josh, you
videos.
put yours out too.
I like the Coin Bureau and the James Invest Answers video, the reaction videos. They were good. And they're good for people who would have watched them videos and taken it at face value that this is what's going on. And to be able to then, hopefully with the algorithm, if people watch them, then they start getting recommended your one, which gives a different perspective and clears up. Look, some of the stuff they said was right. We can't say, like I talked earlier in this, scaling is definitely something we need. James took it to completely the other side of it and talking about how bad things are. But I like them. Keep them videos coming. But Josh, your closing thoughts.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I think the bull market sentiment at least starts today. I think that everybody for the rest of this year is just going to be all for everything that's going on, and specifically in Cardano, there are issues, but we're paying attention to all the right issues. I think, there's lots of exciting stuff being built. Stablecoins are on the way. We know that that's needed for a DeFi ecosystem. Scalability is at the forefront of a lot of really intelligent people's minds. I think 2024 is really going to be pivotal for the whole industry. It'll be big for Cardano. I'm so stoked for everything that's going to be happening. I don't know how I'm going to pay attention to it all, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, and that's why we definitely need to keep these regular, because I always learn something, and all the projects we talked about today, that's only the tip of the iceberg for what is being built. And I would expect projects being built that we don't know about yet. So these types of videos, I love the conversation because I learn about different projects, get different opinions on it. And everyone watching, thanks very much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. The link to all of the guys' channels is down below if you're not subscribed already. Hit subscribe on this one and give the video a like. I don't know where we're at this stage, but hopefully we made the 100. Talk to you soon, guys. And it's time for me to go and do a night feed now for Evie, and then hopefully get an hour of sleep before the next one. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Paul. See you, everyone.
Thanks for joining me, guys. Appreciate it as always.